What if I told you that in the next 1 hour, you'll go from staring at confusing spreadsheets to creating which is much more clear and meaningful insights that actually make sense? Hi everyone, I'm Niveda and welcome to our chapter 1 of our Power BI course. Here's the truth. Most of the people are drowning into data and starving for insights. You've got sales numbers, stock reports, and customer lists. All looks like a noise, right? Well, today that's going to change. In the first chapter, we are going to cover what a Power BI ecosystem looks like and the data pipeline. I'm not only going to tell you what is Power BI, but also going to show you how a fuel bunk manager can use the different parts of Power BI ranging from desktop to mobile. By the end of chapter 1, you'll see the much larger picture of Power BI and how the core components contributes to the Power BI ecosystem. Alright, let's get started. So let's dive in and understand what is Power BI, what are its components, and how the ecosystem actually works. What is Power BI? Power BI is Microsoft Business Intelligence platform that enables the organization to transform their raw or tabular data into actionable insights. It not only provides advanced data visualization capabilities, but also supports data shaping, modeling, and transformation at a larger scale. So that is what is Power BI. What does it actually do? You can connect Power BI to different data sources. It could be Excel, it could be a SQL server, it could be a Word document. You can clean and transform the data. You can build a proper model out of it and finally visualize it through interactive dashboards. So in simple terms, what is Power BI? Power BI is nothing but bringing numbers across your business corners into one particular place where you can visualize it in a storytelling format. Before we move further, I would like to tell that Power BI is not the only player in the business intelligence space. There are other powerful BI tools, each having its own strength. Other players in the Power BI market include Tableau, which is known for its powerful visualization capacity and flexibility. You also have ClickSense, which is proper for associative data modeling. You have Looker by Google. You have SAP Business Objects as well. Sisense, Zoho Analytics are also other powerful visualization tools. Though here there are more tools in the market, what makes Power BI stand out? The reason is here. Power BI is so popular because it is cost effective compared to that of other competitors. It also integrates seamlessly through Excel, Azure, SQL. Make a note that there are 100 plus data sources that Microsoft Power BI supports. It has self-service analytics for beginners, like the dashboard that we are going to build throughout this course. And it also has advanced data modeling capacity for professionals. And most importantly, guys, Microsoft launches and re-updates on a monthly basis, which makes the UI more interactive, more easier to understand with additional AI features. So let's try to understand what are the careers and salary expectations that you can expect. Firstly, there are entry-level roles. Job titles such as Power BI Developer, Business Intelligent Analyst, MIS Analyst are more suitable for this particular domain. You can also build up your career in roles such as Senior Power BI Developer and Data Analyst, which is most popular, and also Power BI Consultant. The salary expectation can range up to 12 LPA. Please note that this is a tentative salary. Next, you can also have senior roles like your Senior Power BI Architect, wherein you get to design the entire project from the scratch. Also, you can be a lead in data visualization, Analytics Manager, and the one that is most booming now, Power BI Consultant. And the salary expectation of these senior roles can range up to 30 lakhs per annum, depending on the company that you work for. So now it is time to understand the purpose of this course. You can also level up Power BI knowledge by learning skills such as SQL, Python, machine learning to advance in your career of data analytics. As of this course, we will be learning Power BI from scratch so that it will lay a strong foundation to your data analytics career. From extracting and transforming raw data to modeling in a structured way to creating interactive visual dashboards, we are going to learn everything from scratch. By the end of the program, you will not only understand how it actually works, but also build your own professional quality dashboards, which you can apply in your future careers. So now let's understand the components of Power BI. Why understanding components is important? It's because for different various purposes like having a licensing or whether you're building an actual report or whether you're going to share, there are different modules that you'll be working on, and it is very essential for you to know what exactly is a module that you require for your project. So there are three different components. Firstly, it is a Power BI desktop. This particular version is absolutely free of cost, and that is exactly the one that you have installed. It does not even come with any trial period. So in this particular version, you will be able to clean the data, for which you will be having Power Query Editor access. Additionally, you will also be able to work on DAX. Okay, you have that particular functionality as well. And thirdly, you will also be able to build visuals. So all this is extremely free of cost. And this is ideal for students who are trying to learn. If they have to work on any projects in colleges, it's helpful. And also for professionals or business people who wants to monitor their particular information. But wherein service is quite different. When it comes to desktop, you don't have to have a sign-in, guys. It's absolutely free. But service account, sign-in is mandatory. Please make sure that this sign-in can either be organizational or student. You cannot have personal email IDs like your Gmail or Yahoo or even Outlook.com. This is because Microsoft Power BI follows strict data governance. Next, you have PBI Mobile. PBI Mobile is nothing but it can be installed in your application, whether it's an Android phone or an iOS phone, where all your reports can be wonderfully published in the form of an app that can be accessed anywhere and everywhere. So think of it this way. So let's say you're in your kitchen and let's say you want to prepare a dish. So before the preparation, you need to first shop all the groceries and then you may have to clean them. So that's like data cleaning. And then you may have to prep it. And finally, you have the dish that is cooked. So these many functionalities you will be able to do in your desktop. Okay, so that's your PBI desktop. But secondly, let's say you want to now share this dish. So in that case, you have to go to a restaurant, right? Where you can publish and where you can share this, serve this dish to other. So in that case, you will be having a service account. Okay, so that's like PBI service. And thirdly, you have mobile application, which means you need the cooked food right on your table. So which means you can order online so that you don't even have to go to a restaurant. So this is a kind of a flow which you can try to understand. So if you're going to work independently without publishing, you can go in for a desktop. In case you want to serve this dish to others, in that case what you have to do? Publishing option, where you can collaborate with your organization, for which sign-in is required, and also organizational email ID is required, no personal email IDs. And thirdly, to sum up everything, you have mobile in which you can access it anywhere. This is excellently useful for field executives and also CEOs, CFOs who will most of the time be traveling and want to view the report in hand. So that's about the components of Power BI, and throughout this course, we will be working with Power BI Desktop. Now that we know the components of the Power BI, let's try to understand the license type. Power BI has Pro, Premium and Report Server options. For Pro license, it enables your sharing capability, collaborations, and this is ideally enough for the organizations that are medium scale. Wherein your premium license is basically required if you have, let's say, enterprises that have too many security options in place, and also if you're working with a lot of AI features, there is a lot of enhancements that you will find in your premium license. And lastly, it is a report server. So report servers are basically required for on-premise deployment, where you have environments that is really secure, where you cannot have the data sets in the cloud, like let's say a financial institution like bank. So these kind of institutions basically go in for server that is installed. So these are the three license type. So if you ask me, I would recommend that if you're going to purchase the license, Pro would be better in order to share and collaborate your reports in Power BI. With that, next, let's move to the pipeline. So a typical Power BI pipeline generally consists of data extraction phase, transformation phase, data modeling, visualization, and finally sharing the content. Now, let me explain this with the help of the example or the project that we are going to work. So this is a Power BI. So once you go to the file, you have to click on the blank report. And once you click on the blank report, you will have this particular interface. The user interface is very friendly. They have tried to replicate a little bit of Excel so that the users are comfortable with the interface. So towards the left pane, I have three options. One is the report view, I have the table view, I have the data modeling view. Now, in order to avoid confusion, let me tell you one by one. Once the data is in the Power BI, it will be loaded and it will get displayed in this particular section. Post which, if you click on the table view, you will be able to see the data in the tabular format. Now, where exactly is the extraction going to happen or the data cleaning going to happen? That is in this transform data. If you click on the transform data, there is a particular window that opens, that is a Power Query Editor. So this is the interface where all kind of transformation occurs. If you see, you will be able to see a place where you have transform, you can replace values, you can split columns, you can merge. So ideally, these are the operations that you have in Excel. So let's say you want to multiply two column values. How would you do that in Excel? You would just write a formula. But in Power BI, that's not the case. Once you create a calculated column, no matter what amount of data comes in the particular source, it gets updated every time. So let's understand that in much more detail. So let me just show you a particular report that I have built, which you guys are going to also build in this course of time. So this is a dashboard that we are going to learn. If you actually look at it, in the report view, you have the entire dashboard that is displayed, right? You have multiple pages. This is the main report and you have the time series analysis also, which is being done. There is more than 10 visuals that I have used in this particular dashboard and you are also going to do the same. And there are slices. So this is the interactiveness of your Power BI. So if I click on a location, that particular information pertaining to that location gets displayed. Similarly, the fuel types such as diesel, oil, petrol also gives me the sales for that particular information alone. So this is a view that I was talking about. So in the step 1, your data has been loaded and it gets displayed here. So that is exactly the first step in your pipeline, which is data extraction. And transformation, like the way I told, if you click on your transform data, it goes to the Power Query Editor directly. And this transformation can be done anytime All right, because what happens once you have the mapping in place, sometimes these particular transformation happens. So if you have to actually go back, you can simply close this. All right, so in our case, we'll be learning more about this transformation in the later stages. Before that, let me just tell you that this particular table view is also as important, because if you click on the tables here, it will give you the data in the tabular format. You can also click on the filtering option and view whatever is the changes that is here. And in the modeling view, you will be able to see the data model that we have developed. So as I have told you earlier, so in the modeling view, you will be able to see the data model that we have developed. So this is exactly the third step, which is the data modeling. And lastly, after doing all this is when I will go and build a fully fledged dashboard. So understand it this way. Initially, I need to bring in the data, and then I need to transform the messy looking data, make it clean and accurate, post which there will be a lot of tables which I have to connect. That is your data modeling, which I just showed. And finally, I will be building the reports. And what is it after you publish the reports, build the reports? You need to also publish the report so that the other employees or your colleagues can see your work. So now let us try to understand what is the project that we have. So before we move on to the next chapter, let us try to understand the project that we are going to work on. Always remember, for a data analyst, just as much as your technical skills that is required, be it your SQL, Python, or any programming languages that you have learnt in order to excel at data analytics, it becomes as important to have soft skills like listening, which is very important for requirement gathering. So once you sit with the client, you need to understand what is the business operation, what is the client requiring at the end of the day. This step is very important so that you understand what the project is about. So let's dive in and understand about our project. Now let's get into understanding the project. Imagine you work as a manager of a fuel bunk. So try to understand the operations of a fuel bunk. So what happens is that there is a tanker that comes in, okay, and what this tanker does is that it basically fills, it dumps the fuel, and it dumps the fuel inside the tankers that is present in the petrol bunk, post which this particular fuel is again pumped into the dispenser, right? This is how a high level operation occurs. But understand that there is a lot of things that is involved here. So in order to make things much clearer, so imagine that there is a fuel tanker and there are different types of fuel. So let's say there are 3 tanks in the fuel tank 1, tank 2 and tank 3. So tank 1 has petrol, tank 2 has diesel and tank 3 has oil. Now once this tanker is present, what happens next is that this particular fuel should get loaded into the dispensers, right? So if you have gone to the fuel bunk, you might have noticed that there are dispensers from which your vehicle is fueled up. So that is what I'm talking about. So let's say it depends from station to station, because certain stations have a lot of dispenser, certain other stations have lesser number of dispenser. So let us assume that we have total of 5 dispensers, okay? So let's say fuel, petrol is fueled into D1 and D2, and then you have D3, D4 for which you have diesel, and then finally oil in D5. Now, once this is done, there should be some system to monitor, isn't it? So there is a device that is called as dip. So this dip is basically taken every time the fuel tanker fills the petrol. So this dip will be in centimeter, okay, which is later on converted to liter. Alright, why I am telling this is that we do have a table called as dip, which ideally contains information like your location, the fuel type, and also the centimeter of the fuel that was being there. Now post this is again fueled into the dispenser. Yes, and again guys, you might have seen the readings on the dispenser, right? So whenever you fill up the fuel, you'll be seeing like, okay, what is the quantity of the fuel that you've actually purchased? That should display right. So the same reading is the one that is utilized in order to calculate our sales. Reason being that every day the reading is noted down, and at the end of the day, whatever is a closing reading, you just subtract that in order to get the sales. Got it? Which is later on converted into rupees based on the fuel rate. The same thing happens in all the 3 tanks. So, in the next chapter, we are going to learn more about our data set, what are the tables that we are going to use, and how we are going to clean up the tables. So, see you soon, guys. So, that's the end of this video. Hope you liked it. Please share and subscribe, and thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.